Well, Patrick, here we are yet again. More conversation of the Vancouver Canucks being in the mushy middle.
Yep.
Seems to be a phrase that we're using more and more. Um, I wanted to take some time this week and thank you to everyone who's watching, listening, and sign up for Canuck Report at our website, theprovince.com. Get everything from Patrick and Ben and Steve and any other content we have for you every week. We do appreciate you watching and listening, but it just feels like these have been this. I don't want to say the same issues, but the same themes have been running through, right? And I thought that the way you wrote on the Blackhawks game was absolutely perfect. They play well for two periods, are the better team, can't score, and then whether it's injuries, lack of talent, just this brutal compressed schedule, which everyone is going to have
Yep.
peaks and valleys in, um, just absolutely fell apart in the third period. And is this the best that the Vancouver Canucks can hope for? Is, hey, you know what? If we get hot and the schedule favors us, we'll win four in a row, and then that'll. Or do you see an opportunity for real change with this team?
I mean, real change, what does that mean? Like, are you trading
It
Quinn
means
Hughes?
moving up. It means moving up the echelons in terms of your hope meter, right?
Right.
Like I thought it was an interesting contrast. You know, here are the Blackhawks and the Canucks,
Yeah.
heavy rivals for such a long time. The Blackhawks got the championships, the Canucks didn't. They both crashed. But
Yeah.
are the Blackhawks now saying see ya to the Canucks on the way back up?
Well, no, I mean, listen, the Blackhawks have obviously benefited from the fact that this player they drafted first overall 3 years ago has now finally hit his stride, right? Like Connor Bedard was fantastic last night. It was night and day comparing him last night versus the player that we saw last year twice. The Canucks beat, let's not forget, Canucks the Canucks beat the Blackhawks 6-3 and 6-2 last year, and that was in the middle of a chaotic season, right? Where they just weren't getting consistency, all kinds of problems. Um, Bedard was utterly lost last year when we saw him. He is not lost now, and that was a big thing that stood out. Um, he's really, you can see he's feeling self confident. He's playing on a line that's working for him, and he's just feeling like he knows how he can make things work again. I think he was struggling a bit with that last year and the year before. Is just he was a teenager, right? Now he's 20. Um, and first period, Tyler Myers got away with not a, got away with one, should have probably been called for tripping when Bedard went flying into the boards. There was a separate moment where he skated away from Ato Ratu, and Ratu should have gotten a hooking penalty. Like the Canucks as a whole struggled to contain him, and so that's great for the Blackhawks. And they've got a couple very fun young defensemen and a pretty good goalie, and those are great things to build around. But like the Canucks, there's also a lot of just kind of okay, he's an NHLer, but like there's a lot of just it's not Sea of Granlund's quality, but a lot of guys that are fine, but they could upgrade on. And when you look at a roster and you say, okay, what is this team? What does it need? In the Canucks case, when we went into the season saying, well, Philip Hedl is their second line center, and it wasn't even that, without talking about the injury risk there, you're like, they want to do better. Like they know they need a better second line center than Philip Hedl. And in almost every respect, in most spots on that Blackhawks roster, they need to do that now. They need to upgrade. Like Ilya Mikheyev scored a goal last night, but like Ilya Mikheyev should be pushing down your lineup. You should be finding guys that are better than Ilya Mikheyev to take Jason Dickinson. Like he was fine last night, but you need guys to push Jason Dickinson down the lineup. So that's the challenge for Chicago GM Kyle Davidson is can he upgrade this roster from what it is? Because yeah, they've got a superstar talent, and like I said, a couple of great young defensemen and a good goalie. But to avoid getting stuck in the mushy middle, you have to be constantly improving your team, and that's the problem for the Canucks right now. Is that they're in the mushy middle, and it's hard to see. I mean, you can see where they need to improve the lineup. It's just hard to see how they're going to do that, given how sort of few prospects they have. Unless you're going to start trading away first round picks, and first round picks for the Canucks are going to be middle. You're betting that it's a top 10 pick, like the Arizona Coyotes did 5 years ago when they are 4.5 years ago when they traded Connor Garland and Oliver Ekman-Larsson to the Canucks and picked up the ninth round pick and got a very good player, Dylan Guenther. And that's the risk the Canucks are hoping does not play out. That the player they would add, the second line center or whoever it is, that would make their team better, ends up making their team better, and it becomes like the JT Miller trade when the Canucks pick ended up at 21 or something like that, and it was just not. It was a price worth paying. So, both teams are in a bit of a pickle of a spot for different reasons, and their outlooks, I think, look different, but they're not all that dissimilar because they both have to do the same amount of sort of roster improvement. But how they do
But
it.
my point wasn't so much about the Blackhawks in that, other than yes, they have this younger core piece, but
Right.
if you translate that to the Canucks, right? This is a few years ago, like, oh, Elias Pettersson, has potential to reach
Sure.
elite status, and he got paid
Yeah.
as such. And now
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes is running out his second contract, and oh my God,
Yes.
he could leave if he's not happy, type thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's where the Canucks is sort of like that trajectory is stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to relitigate the JT Miller situation, but when you look at
No.
like Boeser, Miller, Garland, Dakota Johnson, like these separate pieces that could be your depth that look like they were all coming together with the goaltender when he stays healthy. And now it just seems like it's come apart so quickly for the Canucks. So how do they, there's a fun conversation that goes on. We included it in our Canucks Live about our fan council, and someone did this, the inevitable 5 stages of grief, and they're
Yeah.
talking about like how you are as a Canuck fan. But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a reason for people to think like, we're not going to win the cup this year. But
Yes.
if we just get in the playoffs, we could make some noise and be excited. And then next year, maybe Villander is better, or like whatever it is. I sense a malaise with the Canucks. Maybe it's been so long, or maybe it was having that false hope, both from the bubble team and both from the run against the Oilers 2 years ago. Like I can't put my finger on why there just seems to be a lot of meh with this fan base. Like they're not expecting much.
No, and I think
Like,
you're right.
give them hope, Patrick. Give them hope.
Well, that's the hard part here. It's really challenging. Um, if the ambition is to win the Stanley Cup, like they're a long way from it right now. And openly, they're not rebuilding, but certainly management recognizes that the team that showed so much promise in 24, they're a long way from that lineup. And it's not just because the likes of Nikita Zadorov walked away. It's because they traded JT Miller, and that was always going to be a difficult player, let alone role, to replace. It's not just filling in a second line center. It's finding a guy that, in many ways, pushes Pettersson more. Pettersson obviously needs to perform on his own, and there's lots of things he's doing well, but he's still being paid to score, and he's not scoring. He has 3 goals.
Yeah.
He's not shooting enough. People understand that, but you need that second forward to drive your roster. We saw that. I mean, it's been pointed out many times, but you go back 3.5 years when Bo Horvat was still here, and this team had an incredible amount of depth down the middle. Like this was one of the best sort of top 3 center trios in the league in terms of average quality. None of them were standing out as a superstar, but that was Elias Pettersson got 100 points that year, right? Like JT Miller got 80 whatever points, and Bo Horvat was playing great. Like he had 30 goals or whatever it was before he got traded, right? They had so much strength there, and now they don't have that, and some of that's their own doing because of the contract decision with Miller versus Horvat, and some of that is just bad luck, or whatever you want to say happened with Miller. But it's also, in a certain level, a statement, and I talked about this last week. It's a statement of sort of drafting and what priorities they've set in drafting and what they've not had coming down the line. And they don't have any top end centers coming up. Like they don't have any internal kind of push there. So they're a team that exists, and ownership has spent money on players, and that's nice, but spending money is not the same as spending it wisely or effectively, or recognizing that it's more than just the roster you put on the ice. It's all the stuff around it. I am not talking about the practice facility. I'm just talking about sort of just the general overall operation, how quickly and how slowly decisions get made, and just the overall culture of the place. One of the things I wrote about today, and it was looking at the numbers, but I I first wrote our Canucks coffee, and one of the things I noted was like I continue to think this team needs to learn to have more fun. Like just have fun. Like yes, you shouldn't have too much fun if you're losing a lot, right? But like at the end of the day, it's hard to win if you're consistently if you're not having a good time. And yes, winning will lead to fun, but you need to find a little bit of fun before that. And that's just relaxing and getting out and feeling comfortable where you are. And one of the strengths, clearly, you look at the Whitecaps, you look at the Lions, right? Like I went to both those teams, and obviously they're winning, and both of them are playoffs. But I practiced for both of them recently, and you could just feel how happy these guys were to be there and doing what they're doing. And I do feel too often
Making the playoffs will do that, though, right? Like that's what you're talking
no,
about. Success
absolutely, right? But there's
I
a
think
confidence and swagger you need too, though, and that
yeah.
part of that's knowing. Just I'm here serious. I respect what I'm doing. I respect the job, but I'm also here because this is awesome. I'm being paid to do sports, and that's awesome. And I should have fun doing that.
So when you look at how teams are constructed, I mean, and again, I talked about it earlier, you still have some elite talent on this team, right? Like
Right.
how many teams in the NHL would absolutely die to have a Quinn Hughes there?
Right.
But is the mix right? Is the chemistry? There was so much talk about this last year that the Promises 24 was built up for a well-publicized chemistry issue. Okay,
Sure.
they removed the problem. So now is the lack of spark with this group, is it just that the chemistry isn't right, or is it a talent issue? Or a little bit of both, I guess.
I mean,
I'm trying to offer hope sometimes because we get
yeah,
accused of being negative, and like Tom Wielander is a good
No, I
story,
get it.
right?
No, I think there's. I mean, listen. I said before the season this is a playoff team. I still think there's enough talent on this team to be a playoff team, and like the game we saw on Wednesday night was a very entertaining hockey game, and then it all fell apart in the third period. And if they can figure out why it is they keep falling, I mean, 25 goals, half their goals have come against them in the third period. That is a clear thing they need to fix. They get better at that. They get better in crunch time, squeaky bum time, as they love to call it in soccer. They have the talent to play. Like, there's absolutely talent in this team. There's no doubt about it. They're not as good as they were 2 years ago, but it's still a pretty good team. The defensemen, there's some fun defensemen. I'm really enjoying watching Tom Wielander grow as a player. Like, he's making mistakes, and there's some bad reads here and there. But there's also, he made a great defensive play last night on his own entry. And, like, I'm not just throwing him a bone. Like, he made a really nice play. And he's made some really nice passes. He's made some nice rushes. And those are positives. Yeah, like there's a lot to admire in the way Elias Pettersson's playing right now. He's not scoring, and that's frustrating. He's not shooting, and that's frustrating. But there's lots that he's doing well. Is it $11.6 million worth? No. But like good things are happening when he's on the ice. Brock Boeser's playing well. Think about he literally won the game. He got the puck in the corner on Tuesday night in Nashville and willed a goal. Like that's to his credit. Jake DeBrusk will be massively better in almost every game to come than he's been so far. It's almost impossible for him to carry on being as poor as he's been, right? Like there are lots of good things. Quinn Hughes has not played very well, and you have to think he will play better, right? Like Thatcher Demko's playing great. Like there are lots of things. There's absolutely no doubt. Yeah, you're right. Like let's try not to be what are the positives here? The positives are they're still on the edge of the playoff hunt. They have everything in front of them. They control their destiny. And you know what? If they're going to be a playoff team, they're going to have to play like 600 hockey. And playing 600 hockey means they're playing really well. So there you go. If you want, and I continue to believe they are a playoff team, which means that I'm betting on them playing 600 hockey, which seems outlandish and wild given everything we've seen so far. But, Niels Hoaglander's walking around without a boot and without cane and crutches. And I saw him driving his truck the other day. And Niels Hoaglander comes back in the lineup, he'll make a difference. They need Jonathan Lecker-Mackey to make a difference whenever he's back, which is supposed to be soon. Yeah. There are two guys that can score goals, right? That in many ways, it's almost like scoring goals hasn't been the problem, except for the fact that Pettersson only has 3, DeBrusk only has 2, and Quinn Hughes has 1 even strength point this season. All 3 of those guys surely, at least DeBrusk and Hughes for sure, will get better, and if those 2 get better, then Pettersson will be picking up points and so on and so on. There's a bit of a snowball you can see there. It just needs to get pushed from the top of the hill.
And where does that come from? Like,
Yeah.
let's
Well,
not
that's
also free. It's a bit of a weird situation. An assistant coach that becomes a head coach, so he's
yeah,
familiar with the players,
yeah.
familiar with the place, but it's his first time being a head coach in the NHL. Are you seeing Foot grow into that role a little bit more? Is to get that snowball going. You talk about Quinn Hughes. Look, highest character guy out there, but he is a little quiet. And sometimes you wonder about like, well, do you just have the C because you're the highest paid, most talented player, or are
Yeah.
you really captain material? Like, not everyone is paid to lead to
Right.
get that ball rolling. So I'm just wondering. I hear everything you're saying, and I agree with you. I still think there's enough talent on this team. It's funny thing like Boeser, known as a goal scorer, but he's doing everything while not racking up a ton of goals.
Yeah.
Like all the other, you can't like criticize them for their lack of effort or, yeah, they're doing well. I don't want to go back down the botch Louis Little things, right? Like it's not that. It's like, but you need your star players to be that way. So I can see all these pieces connecting once it gets started, as you just said, you put it all together there. So I'm just wondering how that gets started.
Well,
Who
that's
starts
it, and you hit the point there. Like lots of guys are doing nice little things, but the coherent whole remains that this is a team under 500. So you're right, and then it is more than anything. I think it's tied into the struggles in the third period. Now, whether that's mental, that's just preparation, whether that's getting tired, making mistakes, like whatever it is, there that is the thing, and they need to find they need to tighten things up. I think fundamentally in the third period, I think they do need to get their penalty kills sorted out. Like there's sort of a defensive element to all this. Ironically, we talk so much about them coming into the season with this improved defense core, and yet they're -10 in goals for and against. Right? Like you take away 5 of those goals, and you're still -5, but you're like, okay, like there's a few games there that start tilting your way, and but it is a defensive story. How does the season get better from here? They play better defense. It's really that simple. They play better defense. They're going to keep finding opportunities to score. They've been getting goals throughout the lineup. I mean, look at Kiefer Sherwood, but they've been getting goals from throughout the lineup. I mean, Evander Kane, I think, is actually playing really well. He's making a difference. He's a fit. They brought him in to be a physical presence. He's been a physical presence. He's now scoring goals. He is not a depth puck handler, right? Like there are lots of examples. You can pick an example on almost every game where there's a pass or a quick moment where his hands need to be quicker and they just weren't quick enough. That is not who he is. But there have been individual moments of effectiveness from most players. But the thing that unites all this is they need to be better defensively. And they do need more from Jake DeBrusk, and it sounds weird to say they need more from Quinn Hughes, even though he's playing 26 minutes a night. Like he's got to find a way to connect a little bit more with the players he's playing around him, and there's every reason to think that will happen because he is so damn good.
He is good. And you've talked about how this was more of an issue last week when he was, when he first got injured, how clearly something that had been impacting him all the way along.
Yeah.
So great, he comes back and he gives them a lift and he joins them on the road trip. But as you've run through his numbers, like, would it be smarter to like just let him sit and become completely healthy?
Maybe.
Or is it one of those injuries that you're aware of that like look, he's going to have to play through some level of discomfort all year?
Yeah, I mean, the best guess that everyone has seems to be that it's groin. I don't have any intel one way or another. And that's a difficult one to manage. Like you do not feel 100%. And if you're going to feel 100%, he may not have time to sit and let it heal. Like it just may not work given where they're at in the season. It's interesting. Like he's clearly feeling pressure more. He's not taking any more hits. He just doesn't have the puck as much. They're giving up lots more shots. Why doesn't he have the puck as much? I mean, is it possible teams are playing pucks into spots he can't get it? That might be some of it. It is, every player gets a challenge at some point in their career, and this is his challenge right now. How does he move beyond the moment he's in, which is not a very strong, confident moment? I don't know really realistically if rest is going to help. I mean, rest generally will help. Can he sit? I mean, the thing about it is most players in the NHL are going to get 2 weeks off in February. He is not
He
getting
won't.
already been declared the Team USA roster, right? Like he's going to be playing a ton of hockey, and it's going to become a real load management question here. I mean, we obviously see this all the time in the NBA. Hockey's always been a bit more hesitant. I mean, Adam Foote admitted when they were on the road, what was it, last week, when Pettersson didn't play a ton in against Pittsburgh, and he said, "No, I need like we've got lots of hockey coming. Like I there was no point in playing him there." You know, the game last night, it was 4-0. They scored 2 quick goals. They've got a couple minutes to go. They decided to pull the goalie and go for it, but the bold move might have been in that spot not to play those guys and give them a rest, because you know, in those moments, that's when you press even more and you open yourself up to injury and so on and so on. They had 2 days off. They've got today off, and then they're practicing on Friday. That maybe made a difference. But certainly, yeah, like Quinn Hughes is, until he starts scoring, and if he doesn't start scoring, you know, that is going to be absolutely a talking point. At this moment, given that he got some time off last week, I'm hesitant to say that he needs more of that. But if he's not producing and he continues to be bleeding shots against, you know, they've got to figure something out there.
It's kind of funny. We talk a lot about trades, largely because it's one of the few ways in season you can make your team better.
Yeah.
Jim Rutherford's track record, and we've seen he's already made a trade, but his track record of not waiting and being sort of first to market with that. So it always leaves me conscious of the fact that just as I start to raise my first pint on a Friday night at around 5:30, 6 o'clock, I get a text saying the Canucks have made a trade. That's assuming that we're not falling for fake postings on social media.
Yes.
But
yes,
the
well
same
done, Canucks tell. Yes.
Yeah. The same 3 names are just being bandied around everywhere for center. We all know them, Zakna, Kadri and Stamkos, right? So I'm seeing the same rumors this week as I was 3 weeks ago. Are there other moves for the Canucks to make? Like, do you think? I mean, everyone is always pointing at center, but do you think there's a possibility that help could come in another area where maybe there's an easier deal to be had?
I mean, if Lucas Reichel had burst out of the box as an obvious solution at center, yeah, I can see it. He has not. He has not been. He's a beautiful skater. I've written this. He's a beautiful skater. I like watching him stick handle the puck. He keeps having chances land in his lap, and he keeps not burying them. And at a certain point, you just got to say a duck is a duck is a duck. Now, I don't think I'm there yet to say that this guy
is it a golden eye? That's the name of the new Vancouver PWHL series, the Golden Eyes, which we figured out was a duck. So
very good. Like the most important thing the easiest way to give improvement to your team is to find a better center, right? Like it just does. So that's why we talk about those names. That said, and I'll just on side note, like, listen, I think people are right to say I don't think the Canucks want to go with Steven Stamkos. He looks cooked. I will point out I can understand why, nonetheless, there might be interest. He did score 27 goals last year, right? Like he's obviously not the player he once was, but maybe if you can get him on the cheap, why not take a stab? I guess. If you want actually a player who's still got it, it's going to be Nazem Kadri. Are you going to really get? I mean, Calgary going to trade you Nazem Kadri? I'm not sure. The pickings are beyond that are not that exciting. Sorry, who's the third guy you mentioned? I'm drawing a blank.
Pavel from Boston.
Oh, Zaka, yeah, like
Zaka,
that's
yeah.
Oh my God, that's. I mean, yeah, that'd be lovely, but I just don't see that happening.
Well, those are the 3 names. Like,
I know, and that's what I mean. And like, so those are the 3 names. Like, I mean, it may be by default you throw a dart at Stamkos just because probably the price is the least. I don't know quite where Nashville's going. I mean, I remember when they made the signing, and people were like, "What are they going for here?" Like, they don't have a ton of prospects. They needed to kind of reset things. Barry Trotz had talked about needing to kind of reset things, and then they go and added Marchessault. And I mean, maybe Jonathan Marchessault somehow. You know, is he a guy that you could get in a trade? but again, like most of these guys we're talking about are flawed for one reason or another. And both Marchessault and Stamkos' case is that it's because they're old. You know,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're totally right, and in thinking, well, could they make another trade? Absolutely. Jim Rutherford loves making trades. A trade a month over his time in Pittsburgh, right? And certainly early on with the Canucks, him and Patrick Allvin were very busy. They've not been as busy in the last year or so, partly because the team didn't make the playoffs. But there's certainly a possibility there, and I like I said, this is a management team that is constantly looking for ways to improve the team. They are big believers in making trades to improve your team, finding guys that fit your team better. And I don't think there's any reason to think they will go away from that philosophy.
So we look at this now, like hopefully this one day off does help them.
Yeah.
And then actually having a practice, God forbid, on Friday. And then you've got another home back-to-back. It's just weird.
Wild.
I know it's the Olympics and they're fixing, but it's just there's been so many home back-to-backs. And I really do feel for season ticket holders. You've got there's a lot of sometimes it's not easy having with 3 or 4 games in it and in such short fashion. But you got Columbus and Colorado in here on the weekend, and then Winnipeg before they head back out for a 3-game Eastern swing. How do you see this next week shaping up for the Canucks?
Well,
so Columbus, Colorado.
We're doing our picks. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think they beat Columbus. I think Colorado. I mean, it's hard to see that being anything but a loss. And then Winnipeg. I mean, Winnipeg is a great team in the NHL.
Yeah.
But this is, I wrote this story the other day, and I had one person email, "Come on, man! It's like there's all these games left." And I was like, I didn't reply, but I mean, let's listen. You have to sit back. My job is to sit back and look at what's in front of us. And there's a long schedule in front of us. But it's trying to identify sort of what we're doing right now. What are the games that you really got to win? What are there's no questions asked. You got to take that game. And this is a tough homestand. I mean, Columbus is probably better than our instincts tell us. Colorado obviously is an elite team, and so is Winnipeg. And you're telling me they're going to have to.
And then you're on the road to play Carolina, right?
And then you're on the road, and then you're on this. This next 2 weeks here could be shattering for this season. It really could be. I hope it's not. I hope they prove us all wrong, and they take 2 out of the next 3 games. Because if they take 2 out of the 3 next games, they, believe it or not, Paul, they're back to 500.
Yeah. But this is where we start off, right? It's tough. Like there's no momentum, there's no foothold. They get a couple of nice wins, then there's a couple of disappointing losses, and maybe that is injuries, maybe that's tired,
it's
the schedule, whatever it is.
I mean, it's crunch time right now. This stretch is crunch time.
This is a sneaky tough stretch for them in this next week and a bit.
They come back, and we're still a week out from American Thanksgiving, but then they've got Dallas. This stretch here, this next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next 7 games, 6 of those teams are like legit cup contenders.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's been good stuff, Patrick. It's let's hope we have some fresh stuff to talk about next week. Some new angles, maybe some new players.
A sweep of wins for you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure again you check out the province.com, vancouversun.com, sign up for our Canuck Report newsletter. You'll get everything delivered to you every day. Have a good week, everyone. Bye, Patrick's book on Gino.
Yeah. Take care, guys.